Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. My name is Zoe Abubedoado, and I'm here with
Charles Owuzukumi.
The news is live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. Coming up, Education Minister giving a 12:30 p.m. deadline to brief Parliament on the reporting date of first-year senior high school students or face the consequence of being dragged to the Privileges Committee.
The Minister should be here at 12:30 to brief the House. Failing, we have our procedure to follow. And if he wants notice, I can tell him the matter will be referred to the Privileges Committee.
We'll take you around the country as some first-year SHS students make their way to school today.
We all must be taken into account when we are taking a decision for the reopening date. But we just announced the date that students should go to school on the 4th. And the placement was announced just less than a week.
Also coming up, President Akufo-Addo declines assenting to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023. Stay tuned as we tell you the President's reason for declining two other bills. Still ahead.
The bottom line is that it's the government who is imposing all these tariffs. And therefore, when it comes, the only thing to do is to pass it on to the consumer.
Food and Beverages Association of Ghana contemplates imposing the proposed 20% tax increment on beverages on consumers. And later, Peasant Farmers Association expresses unhappiness with government's 2024 budget as failure to commit resources will negatively affect farmers across the country. This news is also live across our partner stations across the country. We are live in the Western region on Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi and Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bono region, Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani, Ashanti region, Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi, Volta region, Global 105.1 FM in Ho and Adanu 107.7 FM in Adakluaya. Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale, which is in the northern region, West Link 88.1 FM in Laura in the upper west region, Upper East, Source 100.1 FM in Boko, and in the northeast region, we're on SCAP 101.3 FM in Nangpandu. Across the globe, we're on citinewsroom.com.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful for your time this afternoon, and the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagben, has threatened to hold the Minister of Education, Dr. Yawose Duchum, before the Privileges Committee of the House if he fails to appear before the House at 12:30 p.m. today to brief lawmakers on the reporting date for fresh senior high school students. Despite consent by Parliament and stakeholders in the education sector for the Ministry of Education to reconsider the commencement date for the 2023-2024 academic year, fresh students have been directed by the Ghana Education Service to report to school today. Here is the Speaker, Alban Gbagben, reacting to the development in Parliament.
We also raised the issue of parents having to look for resources because the prospectuses were issued. Those prospectuses were not known to the students or parents. And so these are things that I think he should come, even though it's unfortunate that he has insisted that the opening be today, Monday. I say so with good reason. I think he should still appear before the House. The other point I want to draw the attention of members to is that we don't operate at the pleasure of the executive, whether the minister or even His Excellency the President. We have our constitutional mandate cut out for us, so we go according to our time. And I listen to members. You take the decisions. I try to implement using our supporting staff in the parliamentary service. Don't listen to ministers or what the President says. No, we are bound by the law. We go by the Constitution, go by the rule of law, and our practice and procedures. And so the minister should be here at 12:30 to brief the House. Failing, we have our procedure to follow. And if he wants notice, I can tell him the matter will be referred to the Privileges Committee. If he fails to appear before the House at the time given, 12:30, we'll refer the matter to Privileges Committee. I'm very clear in my mind. I'm not asking for your views on this matter.
So that was the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagben. Let's go over the phone lines and speak to our correspondent, Ni Ayikwe Okain, for more on this developing story. Good afternoon, Ni Ayikwe. It's some 25 minutes to 12:30 p.m. as the Speaker had indicated. He's expecting the Education Minister, Dr. Yawose Duchum, before the House to address Parliament on the reopening date for the first-year students of senior high schools. Has the Minister appeared in Parliament already?
Good afternoon, Zoe. So as we speak, the Minister of Education, Dr. Yawose Duchum, is before Parliament, and any moment from now, he will be taking his turn to answer questions from members of Parliament regarding the education sector. And aside that, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagben, also summoned him to appear before the House to brief members of Parliament on the reporting date for fresh senior high school students to school. On Thursday, members of Parliament raised concerns about the short notice to students to report to school, considering the fact that parents would have to make adequate preparations, and then also candidates who have also not yet been placed in senior high schools would have to be placed through the computerized school selection placement system and all that. So members of Parliament were concerned that the notice was quite short, a period for these candidates or students to prepare to report to school, and considering the economic situation and all that, parents would have to prepare adequately to be able to fund the education of these candidates into senior high school. So they were demanding that the Ghana Education Service would reconsider its decision for the students to report today, that's 4th December. However, we have the Ghana Education Service coming out with a statement that the students are still supposed to report to school today. So the Minister of Education was summoned to appear before the House today to brief the House on why government was bent on, having these candidates or students report to school today. As we speak, he's on the floor answering questions to that effect, Zoe.
What prompted the Speaker of Parliament to issue that 12:30 p.m. directive?
Well, that was because the initial, plea that was made to the government or the Ministry of Education had not been heeded to, because Parliament wrote to the Minister of Education admonishing the minister himself to reconsider the reopening date for these students. Parliament suggested that it would have been appropriate for government or the Minister of Education to consider the first week in January for these students to report to school. However, that was not heeded to, as we saw in the statement issued by the Ghana Education Service, that the students are still supposed to report to school today. Based on this, Parliament decided that no, the minister has to appear and then provide reasons for this particular short notice that was given to students to report to school. So that is what we are expecting to hear the Minister of Education, Dr. Yawose Duchum, provide some answers to, if probably there are some cogent reasons for which reason the government intended to maintain its stance on the reopening date. Zoe.
All right, thank you very much. Once proceedings have begun, I'll leave you for you to follow it, and then you bring us live updates as and when the minister gives reason for insisting that schools should reopen today. That was Ni Ayikwe Okain reporting from Parliament. We'll now bring you a report by my colleague Fauzu Masaudu. He did an earlier report on parents and students shopping ahead of the reopening day today.
It's a few minutes past 3 on a Sunday, and unlike a typical weekend, leading school items and stationery shop in Accra, Prospectus, Ghana, is actively in business for obvious reasons.
The reason we've opened is that when we were closing yesterday from the shop, people called that they wanted to know whether we are opening today so that they can come. Usually what happens is that the day before they go to school, they still come and shop. Some Ghanaians, they like the last minute shopping, so they come and shop. So we decided that why don't we come and open so that they can also come and buy the things for the awards. Yeah. Okay.
If you take the general list, you need to get a chop box for them. Yeah. Now these days they've specified plastic chop box, and then also the trunk for safe keeping of their things. We are buying white shirts, khaki trousers, khaki knickers, slippers, even our traditional slippers, the Ahima, which has become part of the traditional dress. They need to buy undies for them, and then also get some blankets and other hygiene accessories. So like soap, bleach, liquid soap, and then powdered soap as well.
Like the minority in parliament, various stakeholders, especially parents, have backed calls for the Ghana Education Service to reconsider the reporting date for the fresh students.
The timing is too short. And looking at the end of month, you see, the challenge is not just even having the money. We've been here almost getting to about 2 hours. The selecting of the items itself is a whole work because you have to look at sizes. So the size of the shirt that your ward will wear, it varies. And the khaki trousers, everything is so. But with prospectors, they have all the things. Even the timing to select is a challenge. And so we believe that if they are giving us a space, parents will be able to adjust their work schedule, do the selections, and then get the kids going.
Got bed sheets, khaki trousers, and then white shirts.
Okay. Aside these things, what and what are you supposed to get for him?
Yeah, the list is so long.
A tall
list that I think we have to just cover basically what is needed for now, so that maybe as the days go by, we can add the rest. But for now, I don't think we can buy all. No.
Is he set for tomorrow?
I can say no. We are not ready because yesterday we heard that they were no more going because they have to stand down. And this afternoon we got another circular, something on social media that they are reporting tomorrow. So that's why we are here this evening.
This is that we want to achieve as a nation, that if the students do not go to school on the 4th of December, we will lose. And what do we gain if they go to school on the 4th of December? I personally do not understand. And if we change the date from on the 4th December and then extend it, let's say a week or two, on November, first week in January, or second week in January, what does Ghana lose? So it's a stakeholder something. The student that is going to school on the 4th, the teachers who are receiving the students, parents who are also to buy the items and then give to the awards to go to school. And we in the business space, we all must be taken into account when we are taking a decision for the reopening date. But we just announced the date that students should go to school on the 4th. And the placement was announced just less than a week. So you ask yourself, how can people use that few days to organize things and give to their children to go to school?
Traders here at the Central Business District tell us parents troop in their numbers to make purchase for the awards, but most of them were resource constraints, a justification for the extension of the reporting date. A reconsideration of the reporting date for fresh senior high school students, from all intents and purpose, will be music to the ears of a lot of parents. But until that happens, they would have to keep buckling up to meet the 4th December directive. For Citi News, Fauzu Masaudu, Okanshi, Accra.
Let's now speak to Fauzu Masaudu live on phone with regards to the reopening of first-year senior high school students today. Good afternoon, Fauzu. The directive was that they should report to schools, or first-year students should report to schools today. Where have you been to, and what do the numbers look like?
Okay, so I've been to Achimota School. I must say the numbers are not too encouraging relatively. And I spoke to some parents who said that they were even here today, although today is the first day for them to report to school, they are here to actually pick their prospectors. And that means that the award cannot start, actually today. And so we also spoke to we spoke to management of the school who mentioned that they are going to give those who are yet to pick their prospectors and make arrangements, some window for them to put themselves together to come back. So even though today is a reporting day as directed by the Ghana Education Service, management here are saying that it is not too binded on them for everyone to actually report today.
Okay, so you spoke to some parents who are now coming for their prospectus. What about those who have reported? What have they been telling you?
Yeah, some have actually reported. And so when we got here, they were actually having registration. So there are registration centers on campus for the various programs. So there are centers for the science students, the general art students, visual art students, and what have you. They were still registering to get. And while you register, there are people around to
help you or direct you to your various houses. So registration, as of the time we got here, was ongoing.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Fauzu Masaudu bringing us an update from the Achimota Senior High School, where he says the numbers are not encouraging. He explains that some of them are now picking up their prospectus to actually get the items that they have to get to go to their various schools. So that's it, Charles. I don't know what you make of this whole issue.
Well, I mean, Parliament suggested to the ministry to reschedule the dates. They say that, I mean, for them, it is important for students to be in school at all times. And so even though this is the official reopening date, I mean, there's a window where students and parents can put themselves together and then they can go back to school. So, I mean, let the children just go to school. And parents should also, get what the children need.
Okay.
And so that's, I don't know, but
okay.
The ministry should have listened to what the stakeholders have all been calling for, and extend the dates. But, they're the ones in charge, and they think that students, for their own good, should be in school. So.
All right. Speaking about Parliament, I have a story from Parliament.
Yes. So let's go back to Parliament. President Akufo-Addo, he has declined refusing to assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023, the Wildlife Resources Management Bill 2023, and the Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2023. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, on November 27, 2023, criticized the President for failing to communicate to Parliament his stance on the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023, which seeks to criminalize attacks on alleged witches, but a communication from the presidency denied receiving the bill together with two other bills passed by Parliament until November 27, 2023. But in a letter to Parliament, President Akufo-Addo says he is unable to assent to the three bills until the associated constitutional matters are resolved. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, read the letter to the House.
These two letters I've received from His Excellency the President. As honorable members will recall, on Monday, the 27th of November 2023, I directed the Table Office to strike out item number 10 on the order paper, which called on the House to rescind its decision taken on the 27th day of July 2023 to approve and pass into law the bill on the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 after the third reading of the bill. At the time I gave the directive, I had evidence that the bill, together with other bills passed by the House during the second meeting, had been authenticated by the Clerk to Parliament and forwarded to His Excellency the President for assent. The Clerk had presented to His Excellency for assent the Criminal Offences Amendment No. 2 Bill 2023 on the 3rd of August 2023 and the Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2023 for assent. I personally followed up with a request for an update on the status of the Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2023, which was submitted to the President for assent by a letter dated 10th November 2023. In the communication from His Excellency, which I just read to you, dated 27 November 2023, he signifies, pursuant to Article 106, Clause 7, that he is unable to assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment No. 2 Bill 2023 because upon review of the bill, he noted some constitutional matters relating to its passage. Honorable members, I will, on behalf of the House, acknowledge receipt of these letters. I will further convey the House's eagerness to read from him these constitutional concerns he mentioned in the letters. In the meantime, I want to employ members to exercise restraint and patience and await the letters from His Excellency, the President, and then we take it from there.
You heard Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin.
You are still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still to come, Food and Beverages Association of Ghana contemplates imposing the proposed 20% tax increment on beverages on consumers. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Ajwapa, what's all this condom business? Oh, I've told her over and over again that she won't get pregnant, and she's still insisting. Oh, isn't she the same person who said we would not have sex till we go out for at least 2 years? For all this time? Oh, and she still can't trust me enough? Ama, when I try to do something small, no, condom this, condom that. So handsome man like me, she probably thinks I have HIV.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner. Condoms are effective for protection against a wide spectrum of STIs and HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You all come back. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has expressed displeasure over government's 2024 budget and economic policy, stating that it failed to address major concerns of local farmers. The farmers have in recent times lamented food insecurity and soaring food prices throughout the year, calling for vibrant investment in the sector to ensure sustainable food production. They say government's continuous failure to commit substantial resources into the agricultural sector will greatly affect it. Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is Dr. Charles Nyaba.
We have higher expectations in the budget. This is due to the fact that most of the macroeconomic indicators that rely on agriculture to perform were all pointing negative. If you take an average inflation rate of about 40.5%, you look at the depreciation of the city, which is partly due to over-reliance on imports. And then you look at the food prices. So we were actually expecting that we were going to use agriculture to transform all these indicators. Nothing of sort happened. So, in fact, the only area that we were a bit consoled in the budget is a tax exemption on importation of agro inputs and machineries. Apart from that, most of the areas we're expecting to see investment never happened. So, in brief, that's all I can say about the budget. We are just hoping that as Parliament is reviewing it, there will be opportunity for them to rethink about it and do something to support capital investment in agriculture.
That was Dr. Charles Nyaba, who is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana.
Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana says it will be forced to pass on to consumers the proposed 20% tax increment on beverages. The association says the taxes will negatively impact their businesses, which are already reeling under the current economic conditions. The General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Samuel Agri, tells Citi News government should find other means to generate revenue rather than overburdening businesses.
We should be very careful the way we are pricing and increasing costs now and then. Otherwise, the consumer finally will not be able to buy from the manufacturer or from the importer. And when it happens like that, it will mean that there will be no business because people will then have to face the challenge of price increases and arbitrary price increases from the supplier, which most of these consumers think maybe is the making of the importer or the manufacturer. But the bottom line is that it's the government who is imposing all these tariffs. And therefore, when it comes, the only thing to do is to pass it on to the consumer. So when the consumers are saddled with more taxes, what will happen is that eventually they will reduce to buy. And therefore, for the background as to what target they are looking at and for what reason they are imposing these taxes, we are still not privy to any information other than saying that they want to increase the cost to make money for government because they need to pay the IMF debts and other things that they propose. But we don't think this is the way to go.
Also reacting to the proposed import restrictions bill, The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana says governments must outline plans to boost local production instead of seeking an outright ban on the selected goods.
We don't need any legislation to control this. What we need is to how we can grow the local sector. This is where we are talking about. So we expect the ministry to come up with other alternatives that I'm putting in place. And this is how I'm going to grow the local sector. Because if you look at the beginning of the year, when they said they were going to push the increase of import bills to go up, so the duties changed as against the benchmark values. So these things went up 100% because the excuse was that we are doing this to ensure that the local production sector also have a way to increase their levels of production. Unfortunately, this has not been the case because every money that has been collected has gone for consumption and government side, and the industry is still suffering. So between now and then, the question we ask is that when you brought in this policy, have we seen the local sector growing in that margin as you expected? No.
Samuel Agri is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana.
Economist and Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Gachi, is encouraging members of Parliament on both sides to find common grounds and approve the 2024 budget. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, on Wednesday, November 29, declared a voice vote on the approval of the budget in favour of the majority after the conclusion of the debate. However, the minority caucus challenged the ruling and opted for a head count, forcing the majority group to stage a walkout. In an interview with Citi News, Professor Gachi noted the crucial significance for the budget to be approved on time to facilitate the business of government.
The budget is not just a mere document that should be read in Parliament and parliamentarians raise their voices about the budget. It is good, it is bad, then it is approved. Then we will, if that is the issue, then we may not be, assigning the real value of the budgetary process. So I think they should find a common ground, negotiate their way through, and approve. Those of us outside, we know the approval process. It has not been approved. And we should do everything possible to negotiate our way through so that a common ground is found for the budget to be approved.
You hear the voice of Professor John Gachi, who is an economist and Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School.
Now, the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has expressed concern that the import restrictions bill aimed at prohibiting certain commodities into the country undermines the key objective of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The bill, which is facing delay in Parliament, seeks to create restrictions on some foreign goods to boost local production. Speaking at the second Volta Youth Entrepreneurs Summit as part of the 6th Volta Trade Fair in Ho, the North Tongue legislator criticized the attempt to categorize all foreign imports uniformly, urging for a more nuanced approach in favor of African countries.
We have been talking about boosting local production, and this topic has been really at the forefront in recent times because of the new import restriction that the Honorable Katie Hammond is trying to pass. And talking about that, by the way, it's interesting that within an AFTA era, we don't see a special regime for businesses within the continent. We are lumping everybody together, treating all importers as the same. Within an AFTA era, Western importers or exporters into Africa should not be treated as African, exporters. Then it means that we ourselves as leaders, we don't believe in the whole AFTA agenda and the policies that we are formulating. Take the school feeding program, for example. The original idea was that everything will be purchased locally. So the rice will come from local rice farmers, the tomatoes, the pepper, the onions, the eggs, everything. What has happened to that program? So there are practical things that we can do to boost local production, to support indigenous businesses.
Okujeto Ablakwa also took issue with Ghana's 15-year mining lease to Atlantic Lithium Limited. The MP argued that the deal could have been agreed with an African company for the betterment of the African continental free trade area.
We recently discovered lithium as a country, as Ghana. I like to be very practical. What stopped us from getting our friends in Zimbabwe who have been mining lithium for many, many decades to learn experiences and to partner with them? We ran to the whites again. This time we are in Australia, and I read a critique of the former Chief Justice, very scathing critique, that there's no difference between that agreement and all the agreements we signed in the colonial era. So it's about leadership, how the leaders demonstrate in practical terms that we really believe in ourselves, we want to take control of our destiny, and we want to maximize returns of the natural resources that we have. Some of the resources we have, if we are not ready to mine them on our terms, let them wait. It will not disappear. It won't vanish. When we have the upper hand, when we have the know-how, the expertise, and we are ready to exploit those resources to our maximum advantage, then we take advantage of those resources.
That was the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament and MP for North Tongue, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa.
And the news just coming in is that Aisha 1 has been found guilty of mining without license and sentenced to jail for 4.5 years in prison. Before we bring you details of that story, let me bring you one more story where the chairman of the Competitive African Rice Platform, Yao Edupoko, has reiterated the need for government to enhance storage capacity to safeguard locally produced rice. His call comes on the back of the assertion made by the Member of Parliament for Bolsa South, Dr. Clement Apag, which highlighted how harvested rice goes to waste. In an interview with Citi News, Mr. Edupoko underscored the importance of constructing additional storage facilities to ensure a consistent rice supply for the nation.
We don't have storage for us to keep it for tomorrow, so that when you come tomorrow asking for it, we'll be able to produce. That is where we have. And this is happening because it's a seasonal thing. Rice is seasonal like all other crops. So when the season comes and it's produced in abundance, we need to house it, to store it, so that when the lean season comes, we can then bring it into the market. So if, for example, we are eating 100 tons in January, and we are eating 100 tons in June, and we are eating 100 tons in December, we should be able to produce 300 tons, spread it along so that every time the rice will be there and available. This is what we have failed to do. So we have a feeling that the minister's initiative will capture all this into consideration so that once he wants us to produce enough to feed the nation, storage will be one of the major concerns that we put in. People are talking about warehousing. That is not for rice. I keep on saying it at any venue that I get the opportunity. That is for other grains and not for rice. Ours is storage in silos, conditioned so that it can be produced at any time. So once these things are put in place, then we will be able to say, yes, rice sustainability.
So you heard the chairman of the Competitive Africa Rice Platform, Yao Edupoko. As indicated earlier, Galamsey Kimping, Aisha 1, has been found guilty of mining without a license and sentenced to jail for 4.5 years in prison. Hansen Ajiman is in court and is bringing us details of what transpired. Good afternoon, Hansen. Can you kindly bring us details of what happened in court today?
So the judge today gave her judgment on the matter and consequently gave the conviction to Aisha 1. And so for the Aisha 1 case that we've been following keenly, you remember somewhere in 2019 she was being investigated and prosecuted for alleged involvement in illegal mining. The charges were then dropped when the Attorney General entered a nolle prosequi into the case. She later re-entered the country illegally and entered the country illegally when she had not been given the authorization to do so. And so the state, after it came to the attention of the Attorney General and following media outbursts on the matter, re-arrested Aisha 1 and and drag her to court on counts of undertaking a mining operation without license, facilitating the participation of persons engaging in mining operating, illegal employment of foreigners, and entering Ghana while being prohibited from re-entry. And the state, for the past few months, has been prosecuting the matter. And so today, the court came to a final conclusion. And so the judge says on count 1, which is undertaking a mining operation without license, and count 2, which is facilitating the participation of persons engaging in mining operations without license, Aisha 1 was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months in prison. And she's also been fined 3,000 penalty units. And that goes to the tune of about 48,000 Ghana cedis. And so that is it for count 1. And then count 1 and count 2. Now count 3 and count 4, which is illegal entry. The count 3 is illegal employment of foreigners, and count 4 is entry to Ghana while being prohibited from re-entering. She was sentenced to 12 months in prison and 1,000 penalty units, default to serve 3 years, and accused to pay fine on all the counts. And so the Aisha 1 was given 4.5 years for the counts relating to illegal mining, and 12 months relating to the illegal employment of foreigners and entering into Ghana without authorization or while being prohibited from re-entry. But the judge indicated that the sentence is supposed to run concurrently, and as a result, when such a directive is given, it means that it is the highest of sentence that you've been given that you serve. And so, since she's been given the highest sentence of 4.5 years, as someone will be spending 4.5 years in prison.
What was the argument of her lawyer or lawyers?
Well, her lawyers have already maintained her innocence as far as the illegal mining aspect is concerned. You will remember that in the course of the trial, she pleaded guilty to certain aspects of the case which had to do with her entry into the country, but with respect to her involvement on illegal mining, the lawyers had always indicated that she was not guilty of such charges. Of course, during the mitigating prayer, the lawyers sought to get the court to reduce the sentence for her. Again, you realize that she's been handed 4.5 years, and because of the level of media coverage this story has gotten, a lot of people wonder why she's been given 4.5 years. So you all remember that recently a new law was passed that banned illegal mining and set a minimum of 15 years and a maximum of 25 years for anybody found guilty of engaging in illegal mining. But before that law came into force, the previous legal order was that anybody who was found engaged in illegal mining and found guilty would serve a jail term to a maximum of 5 years. Now, the offense that she committed it at a time when the new law was not in force. And as part of Ghana's constitution and as part of the fair trial rules and rules that govern the criminal procedure of Ghana, one cannot be deemed to have committed an offense unless the offense has been stated in law and the appropriate punishment stated. And so at the time she committed the offense, the appropriate sanction that has been stated in law was that you can only give such a person a maximum of 5 years, and the court cannot appropriate any powers to itself beyond what has been given to it by the Constitution and appropriate laws. And so the judge in this instance could only give her a sentence to a maximum of 5 years. And in her own wisdom, she decided to give Aisha 1 4.5 years.
What was her reaction after she was handed the sentence?
Obviously, she was not happy. Of course, she wouldn't show it that much, but you could feel from her movement that she was not happy with the sentence. And again, when you come to the High Court, usually when such judgments are given, it's very difficult for the people to be brought through the main gate where journalists will usually be situated, where we can have up close interaction with her and get a better appreciation of what she makes of the judgment and the conviction given by the court. Usually they'll take the convict through the back gate after getting clearance from the prison service and taking them to the appropriate prisons. But as what I can say with respect to her reaction was that she obviously was not happy with the judgment of the court and the sentence as well.
Thank you very much. That was Hansen Ajiman reporting from the court where Aisha 1 has been found guilty of mining without license and sentenced to jail for 4.5 years in prison. Hansen earlier spoke to the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuanyeboa on the decision of the court. Let's have a listen.
Aisha 1 is guilty of the offences as charged. For that matter, she's going to spend 4 years, 6 months in prison custody. Even though we have various offences, because it's going to run concurrently. The highest is 4 years, 6 months. She had a 4 years, 6 months because of our constitutional architecture. The offences were committed between 2014 and 2017. Under that regime, the maximum sentence then was 5 years. So if you bring someone under that offence to court, the maximum that you can get is 5 years. She's lucky that we had no evidence that she committed any offence after 2019. Otherwise, we would have asked for the maximum of 25 years.
Well, what does this say to people who previously had issues with how the whole Aisha 1 case has been handled?
This has brought finality to the Aisha 1 issues. And let me commend the court. The court has spent a lot of time to listen to us. We called over 11 witnesses. Let me also commend counsel for Aisha 1. They cooperated fully with the court. That's what we're supposed to do as counsel. There's a judgment now. It should send a signal to the others that you may be hiding somewhere doing illegal mining. But when the time comes and you are found out, the law will definitely deal with you.
During your case, you brought evidence to show that her activities to a large extent affected the environment within the areas she operated. Did the court make any comment with respect to the restoration of those areas?
No, the court did not make any comment on that. But the court only said that it is rather unfortunate that we have individuals, being Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians, who come here to destroy our environment. And she then said that it would be nice that as a people, we take strong decisions on that. I think it's the first call, and definitely we'll move on with that.
Beyond Aisha 1, do you have any other people that you are prosecuting in respect to illegal mining activity?
There are a lot of cases in court, some of them involving other Chinese nationals. There are cases in court involving Ghanaians.
So that was a Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuanyeboa, speaking to my colleague Hansen Ajiman in court. This is still Citi Prime News. My name is Zoe Abubedu and I'm here with
Charles Owusu-Kumi.
Still to come, MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, wants Parliament to probe allegations of government registering over 600 delegates for COP28. We'll bring you the details shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
With the complexities of issues happening around us on a daily basis, it's the hard-hitting conversations and probing questions of the point of view that teases apart the twisted entanglements of politics and governance, as well as religious and social discourse. The Point of View brings you the policymakers and duty bearers and drills down to the very bottom of issues. The Point of View airs every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally.
Hi, my name is Stephen Appiah, the team coordinator of the Black Stars. I always like to keep hydrated naturally, every day, any day. S Natural Mineral Water does the trick.
Manufactured through a double purification process to produce pure, natural, drinking water. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596 273 546 or 0596 273 547. This advert is FDA approved.
National Health Insurance.
Great news! The National Health Insurance Scheme (NHIS) has waived the waiting period for all members aged 70 years and above. All 70 years and above are also exempted from paying a premium. Enrollment and renewal are absolutely free on the NHIS. Members who are 70 years and above can automatically access healthcare when they newly register with the NHIS or renew their membership annually. You are no longer required to serve the 1-month waiting period for late renewals. Dad, mom, grandpa, and grandma, let your old age be filled with good health and access instant healthcare at zero cost on the NHIS today. Download the My NHIS mobile app to register with your Ghana card or visit the nearest NHIS office. Terms and conditions apply. For details, contact the NHIS call center on 054 444 6447 or 0302 746 447. NHIS, your access to quality healthcare. This message is brought to you by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, is seeking Parliament to probe allegations of government registering over 600 delegates for the Conference of Parties, also known as COP28. Data released by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change suggests that Ghana's delegation to COP28 in Dubai has increased to 618 from the 350 presented last year. The delegation consists of 95 persons on the official parties list and an additional 523 on the party overflow list. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, the former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu bemoaned the impact of the number of attendees of the COP28 on the state coffers.
Mr. Speaker, with this struggling economy and economic distress, how can Ghana lead a delegation of 618 persons? Are we sharing the economic pain and hardship of the Ghanaian? And Mr. Speaker, I see a delegation of the President here to COP28. Why are you not in Dubai? Why are the ministers not here?
Honorable member for
I'm demanding that a committee looks at this matter.
That was the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu.
Now, the Nation Builders Corps Trainees Association of Ghana is warning of an impending demonstration against the government if the over 8-month arrears of allowance is not settled. The group says since the expiration of the contracts with the government in 2022, only 2 months out of the 10 months arrears owed members have been paid. National President of the association, Dennis Opoku Katachie, in an interview with Citi News, bemoaned the lack of engagement from the government on the arrears and warned members will be forced to hit the streets if they do not hear from the government anytime soon.
As I was saying, we have about over 50 to 60,000 of our former beneficiaries who are also unemployed. And imagine the situation now, you are unemployed, the government owes you about 8 to 10 months and there's no measure, there has not been any timeline provided for payment. Imagine. So please, our life has become very, very miserable. And of course, we are appealing to the government to do something about our arrears. If not, seriously, we will bounce back in a way that the government may not like it. Demonstration is not any illegal thing. Demonstration for the Constitution is a legal thing. And I think everybody who wants peace in the country and wants to result in a demonstration should be applauded, because it's not any illegal thing that we cannot do.
That was the national president of the NABCO Trainees Association of Ghana, Dennis Opoku Katachie.
Now, the Ghana AIDS Commission has called for the inclusion of orphans with HIV to the country's social protection services. The commission argues that there are 230,000 orphans who are unable to afford antiretroviral drugs and good nutrition, hence the call. Speaking to Citi News, the Director General of the Commission, Dr. Tremi Tuahene, said his outfit is engaging the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection to raise funds for this cause.
As a country, we have a social protection program that government, through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, is implementing. And it covers some of the persons living with HIV, but not all of them. The HIV population is very large, and only a few of them have, the means to life. And besides that, we have special needs. And so we are seeing a number of challenges in the area of financial support. Currently, the Commission does not have the funds to provide. And so many of these children are facing serious difficulties, and they don't have the life essentials. Discourage many of them from even adhering to antiretroviral treatment because they need the food, to be able to continue with the treatment. And therefore, we as a country and as a commission, considering all these issues and wanting to see how we can support the HIV-affected household, not in the area of livelihood and social protection.
That was the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Tremi Tuahene.
Now, the District Chief Executive for Chiripone in the Northeast region, Hajia Zuweratu Mada Nashiru, says police and military personnel are on a 24-hour patrol in the area to avert any clashes. Recent chieftaincy disputes in Wanchiki forced the District Security Council to cancel this year's Farmers' Day celebration. 3 persons were reported dead following a reignited chieftaincy dispute. Speaking to Citi News on the current security situation in the area, the DCE said although calm has been restored, many residents are still living in fear.
Since the beginning, we have built the environs of Wanchiki and Dambu with police and military. So they keep patrolling hourly or 2 hourly, so for 24 hours. So there is never a time that there will not be security on the grounds there. So yes, the place is relatively calm, and it's just that activities are not as usual. Everybody is indoors or not in the community. And we as DISEC are not leaving any stone unturned in terms of maintaining peace and security within the Wancheke and Dambu areas. And it was one of the measures we took and cancelled the Farmers' Day, because that Farmers' Day is not done without our cherished farmers and opinion leaders and chiefs. We needed to have invited almost every stakeholder in the district. And this is the case. They have conflict among themselves.
Hajia Zuweratu Mada Nashiru is the District Chief Executive for Chiripone in the Northeast region.
Now, Citi News sources reveal that the Ashaiman municipality in the Greater Accra region has recorded over 10,000 cases of avian influenza, also known as bird flu. The fowls, according to the Municipal Veterinary Office, had died within the municipality since November 10 this year. Avian influenza or bird flu is a disease caused by infection and spread among birds to human and can cause fatalities. In an interview with the Ashaiman Municipal Veterinary Officer, Dr. Naomi Gazy, she said there has been a deliberate effort to control the spread of the disease.
So the number of birds affected around 10,801. That is those that have reported. Because of the issue of compensation, some farmers would hide and then, they'll be having deaths, but then they'll not report to us. But for these ones, these are the ones that have been reported. We're trying to contain the whole thing So whenever they report to us, after confirmation, we depopulate the rest of the beds. That is, we destroy them. Then we also do disinfection 3 times on each farm that has been affected. The main thing is biosecurity. So they have to take their biosecurity very seriously and make sure that they don't accept any visitors into their farm. We should continue disinfection.
Dr. Naomi Gaze is the veterinary officer at the Ashaiman Municipal Assembly in the Greater Accra region. Now, as the Christmas season approaches, a palpable sense of anticipation fills markets in major towns and cities in the country. Retailers are gearing up for the festive rush, ensuring shelves are stocked, and online platforms are ready for the expected surge in demand. My colleague Emmanuel Pong has been to some of the markets and now reports.
With less than 24 days until Christmas, consumer spending is set to skyrocket, driven by the festive spirit and a return to normalcy after challenging times. A visit to Makola and Okanshi markets reveal the familiar hustle and bustle as early Christmas shoppers mixed with regular consumers in various lanes. Optimism resonated among retailers, expressing expectations of significant sales growth during the holiday season.
Sales weren't impressive at the beginning of the year, but market hasn't been bad lately. With this trend, I am hopeful that before Christmas, there will be a boost in sales.
We are not experiencing the usual rush that comes with December. This is because of the school placement of the new entrant for SHS. Their parents are focused on shopping for them rather than shopping for Christmas. We are hopeful that after they settle the school demand, they will shop for the festivities.
We sell these items every year, but the prices are a bit higher than the previous year, which turns the customers away. We are encouraging shoppers to buy them for decoration so that we can fend for ourselves as well. We are hopeful that patronage will go up.
Some early Christmas shoppers share their sentiment with Citi News.
Regular shopping and a little bit of Christmas shopping. And so far, well, things are really expensive. The money we brought, we can't sit up. We don't know what we bought. Yes, and shoes are very expensive. Christmas decors too are very expensive. We don't know what we are going to buy.
So it's about 23 days more. And so those that are saying things are expensive. Are you predicting that maybe about 5 days or 3 days to Christmas is going to go up?
It will definitely go up. That's why we decided to come earlier, because we know that we are predicting that it will go higher than now. And now it's not even good at all. It's very expensive.
So talking about Christmas, what items are you looking out for Christmas shopping?
Decors, shoes, clothes for children, for our kids. Yeah.
Then for yourself, groceries?
I can't get anything for myself because even though that's for the children, I didn't get everything and my money is out. I'm done.
However, amid the Christmas cheer, concerns emerge at the poultry market as traders lament the escalating cost of feed, potentially leading to high prices for poultry products.
Market is not moving at all, simply because the cost of the feed and the farmers are selling is high price for us. So through that, when we bring it here, the market too is not going through because of the cost of the feed.
If you are saying because of feed, is it? I can see that most of the cages are almost empty. Is it because of that? That is why the
cost of the birds, when you bring them plenty, the market is not moving at all.
What are the average prices of the birds? And like now, and going forward, are you anticipating that the price will even go up?
Yes, the price will go up. All the farmers are waiting for the Christmas to increase the prices. That is why you go to the farm, they will tell you come on 20th, 21st, because of the prices, they want to sell it high price.
Navigating the final weeks towards Christmas, the market presents a blend of optimism.
That was a report filed by Citi News' Emmanuel Opon. That's it for Citi Prime News, which came to you live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. For more news, log on to citinewsroom.com. My name is Zoe Abubeidu Ado, and I was here with
Charles Owusukumi.
Have a good afternoon.
Citi 97.3. More variety.